Hello and welcome back live for our next panel discussion. This is all around overcoming barriers to the digitization of commodity trading. We've got a brilliant lineup led by Simon Collins, who's the CEO and co-founder at TradeCloud. We have Mosum Muslimzada, who's the global head of IT for Soca Trading. And our moderator today is Dipesh Patel. Dipesh is the editor-in-chief at Trade Finance Global. So Dipesh, I will pass over to you and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Luke. My name is Dipesh Patel, Editor-in-Chief at Trade Finance Global and host of the podcast Trade Finance Talks. So today's panel session is overcoming barriers to digitization of commodity trading. 2020 has certainly been a difficult year for the commodity market, arguably one of the toughest years we've seen in decades. 2019 ended with volatile commodity markets and geopolitical uncertainty, but this was totally dwarfed by the impact of the collapse of many commodity traders, notably AgriTrade International and Hin Leong, followed by the collapse of Phoenix Commodities in Dubai. Further to this, we saw the dramatic collapse in the price of crude oil and also increased volatility in the commodity prices overall. In addition, commodity flows and prices continue to be impacted by the US-China trade war, sanctions, and the imposition of many tit-for-tat tariffs. But geopolitical and macroeconomic issues aside, the commodity trading operating model is going through what we call a digital makeover. Commodity trading houses operate very much in paper-based, siloed, and a disconnected fashion, despite pressures on thinner margins and the fight for maximizing profitability. Coupled with this is the increasing cost of bank debt, probably as a result of the devastating coronavirus pandemic, which has for sure made this the perfect storm for commodity trading houses and commodity financiers. But there is a silver lining. A recent research publication co-authored by myself and Emmanuel Gann at the WTO announced a significant acceleration and maturity of digital ecosystems, platforms, projects, and consortia using digital technologies to accelerate various areas of trade, including commodity finance. This is a material improvement in just 12 months when we first launched the barometer in Geneva back in November last year. Today, we'll be discussing why there isn't yet an Airbnb or Amazon for commodity trading and what it might take for the industry to get there. So on the panel today, we have Simon Collins, CEO and co-founder of TradeCloud, director of Edge Petrol, and an investor in a number of technology-based startups. Simon was formerly head of metals and minerals trading for Trafigura, as well as a member of Traf's management board. Simon has over 30 years of experience in commodities trading and trading businesses, complemented with broad product and regional experience. We also have Mosum Muslimzada, global head of IT at Soca Trading. Mosum started his career at Soca back in 1997, later becoming head of information and analysis. In 2003, he went on to pursue opportunities in the aviation sector, managing various technical and IT projects, and continued working with Soca on various automation projects. Mosum returned back to Soca full-time in Geneva back in 2018, and now looks after the digitization of Soca's trading activities. So an excellent panel. Let's jump straight into the conversation with our experts. Simon, please can you give us your elevator pitch? So in 60 seconds or less, what is TradeCloud?
So TradeCloud is a communications platform really specifically designed for the commodities industry. It was born from basically looking at and evaluating existing B2C platforms, some of which you mentioned, Airbnb, Alibaba, Uber, Amazon, and looking at the attributes of those platforms and seeing how that could be, transferred into the realm of commodities. And what we've done is that we've provided a secure and compliant platform which is open to all market participants on a B2B basis. It's a place where people can meet, can negotiate, can conclude deals and issue contracts all across the platform. And also, we've just launched literally last month our Trade Cloud Commodities Web, which is for traffic operators to start connecting with services such as freight, inspections, banks, as well as their customers. So that's what we do.
Thanks, Simon. Movsum, same to you. Please, can you give an overview of Soca Trading as well as your role to our audience?
Thank you for having me. Soca Trading is part of a state-owned company of the Republic of Azerbaijan. We're a global energy trading house with the offices at all major locations. We're headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. We started a little bit more than 10 years ago as a marketing arm for Socar, for Azeri crude oil, but have built into a fully integrated trading company with most of our volumes coming from third parties. My responsibility is digitizing our processes, making sure all our workflows are automated and integrated with all external companies and platforms. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Let's start with the first section of our session. So let's frame the problem. Simon, let's take a helicopter view on this, and perhaps taking a look at your previous day in the life as a Trafigura trader. What are the biggest challenges for commodity traders and even more generally, the commodity trading industry as a whole?
Well, commodity trading business by its nature is a very competitive business, and people are looking for the best deals which are available in the market. Margins are thin. People are trying to overcome that by pushing more and more volume through their systems, and that's certainly something that we tried to do and succeeded to do in Trafigura. But at the same time, it generates thousands of emails every day and huge piles of paper. And a lot of those pieces of paper are very disconnected, and that's a big challenge. And, people are, as you mentioned, talking about digitalization, and it's becoming a topic within the industry for a number of reasons, which we'll go into during this session. But I think what's important for me is that digital transformation is a journey, and people need to understand that it's not a big bang thing. When you look at a risk management system or accounting system, it's a big assessment, and we need to buy that product, or we need to use this product. Whereas, what we're trying to do at Trade Cloud and what the industry is trying to do is incrementally slice bits away where we're using manual systems and paper, and that is what we're trying to tell our customers. It's, this is what we have today, but tomorrow, we're taking on this journey to full automation and full digitalization of your business. I can remember, back in 2017, when the concept of blockchain was really introduced to the commodities industry at the Geneva Commodities Week, which was hosted by some banks and some consulting companies. And, they were talking about, smart contracts and automation and everything. And I look at the face of the audience and the questions that were coming out, and people were really concerned. I liken that to, for example, autonomous vehicles, where you would hesitate to think about getting in a car and having it drive you around. It's a bit of a concern, and I think the audience also had the same concern. To say, well, you mean it's just going to ship on its own, and the documents are going to be produced automatically, and the payment's going to take place, and it's going to price, and it's like, hold on, right? So people have reservations about that, and I can understand that. So digitalization is incremental change. We see that in other industries. I can remember the first time that I booked a flight online. It was an arduous task. It wasn't smooth, etc. But today, you couldn't really consider doing that in any other way. And that's partly because the service keeps improving over time, and it offers you more and more service. It offers you your boarding pass automatically. It'll update you on events and things which are happening in your destination, etc. And I'll also tell you if your plane's late. So that's pretty useful. But we need to go through educational process. There are many different products which are out there, and a lot of which have been highlighted in your recent report with the WTO. And people will need to get their head around that. Where do these things fit together, and how can they benefit me?
Thanks very much, Simon. And actually, from a consumer perspective, it's interesting because you book a flight these days and you expect to be paying on Apple Pay, the boarding pass automatically generated and stored on your phone, whereas this industry is very different. Let's look at the other side. So Mobsam, from an IT operations and infrastructure perspective, and with your commodity trading hat, can you talk us through the current process or processes a trader faces when it comes to booking and selling orders, generating proposals and contracts, or perhaps securely sharing data and documents?
Well, for exchange clear trades, it's much, much simpler and smooth now because everything is integrated. And once the trade is booked online, it flows into our backend systems for audit, for booking, for reporting. But with the physical trading, the process is much more manual, especially around exchanging documents. Most of it is still done via email. Of course, the information is booked into ETRM systems, into our other internal system. When we value it, we discuss it, we validate it and approve it. But at the end of the day, when the exchange starts with a counterparty, it's all emails. So, of course, we record it into our document management system, but it's still emails between people. And this is what we're missing automation in this area. We cannot simply exchange information with our counterparts. So it adds a lot of manual labor on top, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that journey to moving online isn't necessarily moving from paper to online. It's actually digitalizing and joining some of the different parts which are already online, such as emails. Simon, what are the key benefits then to digitalizing of commodity trading and trading? And I guess it would be good to have your trade cloud perspective on this, which is what areas of commodity trading are you focusing on?
So, yeah, I mean, commodity trading in the physical markets, it definitely presents certain challenges, particularly because there is no real standardization in the industry. So, we have many, many different types of products. Generally, we're talking about natural products, and TradeCloud is covering now energy markets and metals markets, right? So, if you talk about a barrel of crude, we have to think about, what is that barrel of crude? What was the origin of it? What is its viscosity? What is the chemical composition, etc.? And we have many, many different types. Plus, we have blended products as well. So, to try to create an exchange for commodities doesn't really work, and that's a key benefit. And then there's all the other terms that are going within the contract, pricing clauses, which can be very complex, optionality, different types of payment terms. It's all non-standard. And I think for that reason, a lot of people do think that it's very difficult to digitalize that industry. But what we took was the example of Airbnb, and Airbnb has become one of the largest property markets in the world. And if you think about it, every apartment on Airbnb is different. Okay, it's in a different location, it has a different view, it has proximity to the tube station or whatever you want, right? And you can go on there, you can basically say that all the parameters of the thing that you want, including the price, okay, and then go out there and look in the market. So, our goal was to try initially to create a platform which was a peer-to-peer platform similar to Airbnb, okay, where people could go out there and they could search for the commodities they want or offer the commodities that they have, okay, in a very broad way. Now, not like an exchange, because an exchange creates visibility to everybody. And I know a lot of people in the commodities industry, they don't want to necessarily share that information with their competitors. So we created a peer-to-peer platform where you can specifically send information to the people you want, and you can exclude the people that you don't want. Okay, so that's, understanding. Now, the thing for me is always to start at the beginning of the process, and the beginning of the process for me is around meeting, negotiating, and contracting, right? And thereafter, everything else is taking place. The shipment is taking place, the bills of lading are being issued, the warehouse receipt is being issued, the inspection is being done, etc. Right? But one thing leads to another. And the type of experience that we're trying to create is a kind of an Amazon experience. Okay, it's somewhere where you go online, you go find what you want, you book what you want, and then everything else is automated. If you think about Amazon, it issues you the invoice, it issues you the contract, and then it starts updating you, okay, on when is your particular good that you bought, when is it going to arrive? It's going to arrive tomorrow, and then you get an update, it's going to arrive between 3 and 4 o'clock, etc. And we're going to try to create that experience for our customers. In terms of the challenges, I think in the industry, first of all, is to create a digital connection between you and your customer. That's very, very important, because then you can push information down that digital channel, and you can also connect with other services. First point for me is around security. And fundamentally for me, email is not secure. And it's obviously the primary form of communication that people are using today. But we see many, many instances where people's data is compromised, where they can be defrauded, where they can be attacked through, phishing attacks. And this has happened, on a number of occasions. I mean, we had 2 big cases in Europe only last year. Hydro Aluminium was severely attacked by phishing. And also Nearstar, they had their whole marketing department taken down for a matter of weeks due to a malicious email which somebody clicked on. So, if you think about your experience with a retail bank, you do not send them an email. They will not accept that as being a payment order, right? You go onto their platform and you work within their secure environment. And that's very, very important. I think second important thing and second benefit is compliance. Okay, compliance is all about visibility. So how do we have visibility over what is happening and what happened and when it happened and how did that event occur? And compliance departments are continually using digital tools to monitor the activity of their employees. And I think we can assist with that, and that's, a clear benefit. And as I mentioned, straight through process. Okay, so if you start with digital contract, it has metadata and it can help you run straight through process. And then, the other things around data capture. We want to capture, clients' data so that they can use it within their business. And you see more and more people within the commodities industry investing in, data management, data analysis, and the business is becoming very data driven. I mean, I think we had an excellent presentation from Vortexa yesterday by Fabio, their CEO, and I think he really demonstrated how powerful that is. So if you can grab all that external data and you can complement it with all your internal data, this is extremely beneficial, certainly for a trading company, but also I think for a producer and a consumer as well. It's not only the deals you booked, it's the deals that you didn't book. It's how many offers you received and within, what price range, etc., which tells you about the depth of the market. And that's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and I definitely think we can conclude from the Commodity Trading Summit throughout the past 2 days that data is the new gold. Mobsam, what needs to happen from a practical IT and an operational perspective in order to move forward with this?
From my perspective, internally we can automate pretty much everything now with the AI and all the tools that are available. But to externally to communicate with other counterparties and the platforms, integration takes most of the time. And it's not feasible to integrate with everybody if there is no general protocol or some systems that defines the rules, the mapping between the data and the actions that we declare as parties in negotiations and in trading. We need such a protocol. Then all the software vendors and platform providers can support such a protocol, and then integration becomes much easy, and we can all start talking to each other. And now it's like inventing a new language every time you want to integrate with somebody else. So again, for exchanges, there are not that many of them, so all the companies took the effort and integrated. But for commodity trading, for daily, there's too many counterparts. It's not feasible to do the integration with all of them. So we need a protocol, we need a standard by which industry can exchange trading data, operational data, and conduct business and do the negotiations.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very interesting comparing the futures and derivatives market with this physical commodity market and looking at the differences. Talking about those languages, let's talk about blockchain, because I think we've mentioned that a few times. It's been mentioned throughout the past few couple of days. Is blockchain a solution, Movsum, in your opinion, or is it just a very nice, very expensive plaster at the moment?
Well, blockchain is a technology. It all depends how it's implemented and how it's used. So I don't see blockchain as the only solution. It helps people trust the platform or a provider when it's built its solution on the blockchain. But at the same time, we now all use electronic signatures from companies that don't use blockchain, and we sign contracts with them, and courts accept them. So blockchain definitely is a good technology that can help solve some issues, but it's not in the technology itself the solution. It's all about how the platform is implemented and how easy it is to onboard people. Because we, in contrast with Amazon or Airbnb customer, who is a person, we are a trading company. So we have all these systems in place internally for all the processes. So we need the language for these systems to talk to others. So let it be a blockchain or not, as long as it works and well implemented, we will sign up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And perhaps Simon, you and I might be both shooting ourselves in the foot by saying, you know, what's the point? Do APIs work? I mean, we look at Amazon and Airbnb, and I'm pretty sure they don't use blockchain at the moment. What are your thoughts?
I mean, for me, blockchain was an inspiration behind what we did. We kind of threw that out the window initially because we realized that the most important thing is to build applications that people want to use. That's key. So what does it need? It needs to be intelligent. It needs to be easy to use. It needs to be, it needs to be robust. It needs to be secure. These are the most important things. Okay. But at the same time, I am a believer in blockchain, and I've met many people who are hugely enthusiastic about the technology because it can bring some an interesting future to the business. Why? Because you have concepts of trust, of proof of work, of distributed ledger, signatures, and also sovereignty of data. Owning your own node on the blockchain allows you to control your data, and people want to control their data. So, if we talk about challenges again, it's like, okay, well, I want to be on a platform because it works, but I don't want to give my data to any third party, and I can understand that. At the same time, we're sharing data all the time. It's information is flowing around the market. That's how we get we give information, we get information. You can't do a deal without showing an offer. It's as simple as that, right? So, blockchain can help with that, okay, in allowing people to own their own data and allowing, what we, again, coming back to this proof of work idea, is allowing people to trust each other. I do believe, that platforms, what they've done is that they have created trust. Again, coming back to the concept of Airbnb, that rating system between user, the person who wants to rent and the person who's letting their apartment, is extremely powerful. It worked also for Uber, driver rating rider, rider rating driver. It creates trust. And if you create more trust in this industry, it allows you to trade with more counterparties. And I see that as a big benefit. And it also aids the compliance process.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's now talk about the challenges, because we're not there yet as an industry, and there's something clearly stopping the industry from getting into the current state, from getting from the current state to the fully digitized, fully automated commodity trading industry, from an execution of trades perspective right through to accessing commodity trade finance. So we'll frame the challenges into three parts: regulatory and compliance, awareness and education and also data. Simon, what does the landscape look like from a regulatory and compliance perspective? And I guess we can bring a number of items on the agenda here. Obviously, the latest risk-based Basel IV reforms to credit, the discontinuation of LIBOR, and of course, compliance with SFTR, securities financing transaction regulations. Does this add to the problem, or do digitalizing various processes actually help?
I think one thing we'll all be agreed on is that compliance is only going to get stricter and more invasive in our business and probably in our personal lives as well. And then the question is how to deal with that. And one thing I'd say, with compliance, I've come to the conclusion that there's two areas of compliance. One is legal compliance. That's the rules that you need to abide by, which are set by governmental organizations. And then the other thing is social compliance and complying, with the outside world. And social media has become so powerful over the last 10 years that we can't ignore it. As a corporate, you cannot ignore your social profile. And social media can be your best friend and it can also be your worst enemy. We've seen companies toppled by that. So what does that mean? It means that you need to demonstrate that you're able to be compliant. Okay, that means you can be compliant from a legal perspective, but also from social perspective, because when you're being attacked by social media, you need to justify yourself. And recently we've seen cases related to, for example, the use of social platforms for work purposes. Okay, there were a few people let go at Citi only 2 weeks ago, and a few people suspended at BP only 3 weeks ago, related to the Hinlong disaster that you mentioned. Right. And we need to move people off social tools. The reason that they're having to take action against them is because compliance can't monitor. So again, I come back to the same theme a little bit, is that you need to monitor the activity within your organization in order to be compliant, and you need to abide by the rules, because at the end of the day, that is what's going to, basically create the longevity of your company. So that's important, and being able to monitor the activity is the most important thing.
Mobsam, I remember when we spoke earlier, you said that part of the problem is around awareness and education rather than IT and the fundamental systems themselves, both in terms of getting internal buy-in from management and also throughout the industry. How big is this challenge, and what can we do to address this education gap in commodity trading and trade finance?
Well, I don't have a solution for that, but I see that education is a hard topic. Nobody has time for it. Everybody's busy, but managers and CEOs, people who make decisions, they need to understand what tools or what technologies are on the market, how to use them, and to trust them. So trust needs to be built. 5 years, 6 years ago, everybody was afraid of cloud, that you place your data under somebody else's control. Now it's becoming a mainstream. So this education constantly is going on, and the more young people join the companies, I think this will become much easier. And also users from the systems, they expect these systems to be smart and to educate them and to show them what to do. They don't expect to learn the systems. Systems should already be smart to help the trader or user to book his trades and enter all the information correctly into the system.
Thanks very much. And we actually have a question from the audience following the recent news about data security breaches via freeware, which have made the headlines. And Simon, I'm going to direct this question to you. How does a trading platform help with data security and integrity, which was one of the other challenges that I alluded to earlier?
So, just coming back to my point about email, is that when you send an email, it leaves your environment and therefore it's not under your control. And again, that's why, for example, the banking system will only accept, instructions when you're within their environment. So, if you work within a secure environment, then you're much less susceptible to being hacked. And we will always use the latest patches. We use Microsoft Azure Cloud. All our data is end-to-end encrypted. And that's how it can help you secure your data. Essentially, it never leaves that environment. And that's the important thing.
Thanks very much, and we're nearly out of time, but I think there's time for a couple more questions, and one more for both of you. Has the pandemic really made people realize the importance of both digital platforms and digitalization? Movsum, I'm going to start with you.
For us, it was a game changer. We started to moving to cloud in 2019, and we changed the way that users access the application from outside the office. We made sure that no virtual private connections are required, that they can use almost any device to access any application. And in 2020, when COVID came, we were ready. So we switched in one day, and we got lucky that we prepared all the infrastructure to be able not to come to the office. Of course, we didn't know about the COVID, but we wanted to be able to work from any place on the planet and not to have to be in the office. So it helped a lot. And during the COVID, because everybody was home, the management and everybody, they started to understand more how important those IT systems are, and that everything depends on those IT systems running properly. So it helped a lot. It helped a lot with all the teams and the online conferences and communications. Truly helped a lot. Plus, our traders could use the COVID situation to their advantage. So we also financially had a good year. So
Yeah.
it was a very interesting experience.
And Simon, over to you, 30 seconds.
I think the biggest example I've seen in terms of the impact of COVID on digitalization in the industry is the adoption of electronic bills of lading. Both of, the two main players, Bolero and Estox, have seen exponential growth in the use of those their services. They've been around for a long time, but suddenly people woke up and say, yeah, we need to find a solution because nobody's in the office anymore. Everybody's at home. We need to have electronic documents. And I'm proud to say that we will be integrating with Bolero in the next few months, as well as the trade finance platform Contour. And we're also looking at IoT devices for Roamby for compliance in tracking cargo. So we're trying to tie together contracts, documents, trade finance, and cargo surveillance all in one package. And that interoperation is going to be really important going forwards. And then I think we really have a solution for the industry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simon. So Simon, Movsum, thank you for a really excellent session today on overcoming barriers to the digitization of commodity trading. I'm Dipesh Patel. Luke, back over to you.
Thank you, Dipesh. Thank you, Movsum. Thank you, Simon. I think interoperability is a great point to close on, and it really encapsulates where this industry is going. And I think this has been a really good conversation. Lots of what's been spoken to over the last 2 days has been leading to this, really. And actually, a lot of this is providing solutions and will be the solutions we move forward. So I encourage you all to learn more, reach out, and chat to all the folk on that panel. So thank you. Moves us to our next session.